Hello, I'm Laurie from Little Angel Theatre, and I'm going to be telling the story of the Pied Piper. Once upon a time, there was a town called Hamlin. The people of Hamlin were very happy and lived contentedly in their little grey stone houses. Then one day, something extraordinary happened. Now, Hamlin had always had a bit of a rat problem, but the cats usually dealt with it in the normal way. But they just couldn't handle it. The rats had begun to multiply. They were attacking the barns, the storehouses. They were eating everything in sight. It was like a great big swarm of black rats plaguing everything. The town council sat and looked to the man in charge, the mayor.
Well, can't we just get rid of the rats in the usual way?
I'm afraid all the cats have gone.
Oh, well, can't we just poison their food?
I'm afraid they've already eaten all the food, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, well, help!
Just then, there was a knock at the door. The mayor carefully opened the door. And there stood a tall, thin man with brightly coloured clothes, a long pointed hat, waving a pipe. "I freed other towns of beetles and bats. For 1,000 coins, I'll rid your town of rats."
1,000 coins? Said the mayor. Oh, I'll give you 50,000 if you can get rid of that vermin.
"It's a deal," replied the piper, and he hurried on his way. He called back, "By dawn, all the rats will be gone."
Oh, fabulous, said the mayor.
As the sun was just beginning to set, the sound of pipes could be heard floating through the town. The piper was playing his pipe, and as he did, a long trail of rats were following along behind him. The piper led the rats all the way to the river, and they fell in one by one and drowned and got swept away by the current. The piper rushed back to the mayor's office and knocked on the door. The mayor opened the door.
Yes?
And there stood the piper. "I've rid your town of rats, and I'm here to collect my 50,000 coins, please."
50,000 coins? Well, I never said anything about coins. You must have misheard me. I don't know anything about coins. Piper, be gone. There is nothing for you here.
And the mayor slammed the door in the piper's face. The piper was bitterly disappointed. "You're going to regret that," he thought to himself as he hurried on his way. That night, as the sun was beginning to set, the sound of pipes could once more be heard wafting through the town. But this time, of course, there were no rats to follow along. It was the children of Hamlin who were one by one coming out of their houses and starting to follow along the piper. They were so taken with the music, they simply couldn't help themselves. The piper didn't lead the children to the river as before, but this time he led them to a great big cave in the mountainside. The cave was guarded with a big stone door. He led the children through the door and into the cave and quickly dashed out himself. He played his pipes once more, and a great landslide started tumbling stones down, piling up in front of the door with the children trapped inside. One small boy had managed to escape. He raced back to Hamlin as fast as his legs could carry him and told as many people as he saw what had happened. One by one, the grown-ups rushed to the cave and tried to move the stones that were blocking the door, but to no avail. Days went by, and weeks, and every day another parent or aunt or uncle or grandparent would go to the cave and try to move those rocks. But they were guarded by magic, you see. They could not be moved. The mayor had had to learn a very difficult lesson. The people of Hamlin were very sad. They never saw their children again. But every so often, the sound of pipes could be heard. If you listened really closely, the people of Hamlin would shut their eyes tight and pretend they hadn't heard anything at all. I'm afraid it's a rather sad ending to this tale. The end.